Now it's about time that we start mixing our indigo dye vat. This is the point in my workshop that I love to just pause for a second and give you a little chemistry lesson. I'm married to a chemist and I always tell my husband, this piece is dedicated to you. Indigo in this state, its pre-reduced state, is not water soluble and it is attached to a lot of oxygen. The molecule loves oxygen. In order to use it as dye, however, we have to take some of that oxygen away. So inside our indigo vat, the first thing we do is put in some soda ash or sodium carbonate. That raises the pH of the warm water and prepares everything for this chemical reaction that's about to take place. The second thing that we put into our indigo dye vat is thiourea dioxide or thiox. This chemical is an oxygen sequester. It likes oxygen. It will take oxygen away from our indigo. In fact, it's even stronger than the indigo. So when we put the thiourea dioxide inside the vat, it sits waiting for its chance to grab hold of all of the oxygen the indigo has on it. Next, we put in our indigo molecule that jumps into the vat as well. The thiourea dioxide that was inside our vat starts grabbing all of the oxygen away from our indigo molecules. Indigo inside our indigo vat is naked. We've taken away all of its oxygen. It is in this reduced state where our big oxygen-loving indigo molecule has lost all of its oxygen to the thiourea dioxide that we're able to use it as dye. At that point, our vat is really oxygen sensitive. Because we've taken the oxygen away from the indigo, what indigo really wants at that point is more oxygen. In a lot of other dyeing techniques, agitation and movement is required in order for the dye to take within your fabric. That's not the case here. In fact, we want to be really gentle with our indigo dye vat as we slowly and gently dip our fabrics in and pull them out. We don't want a lot of splashing because that introduces oxygen into the vat that we've taken such care to keep the oxygen out of. You're also going to see how the magic happens once you take your fabric out into the air. Because what exists in abundance in the air? Oxygen! All of that oxygen-hungry indigo that has been stuck inside your fabric starts to reach out and grab all of the oxygen from the air, mechanically binding it inside the fibers of your fabric. And that is how indigo dye works. That wasn't too bad of a chemistry lesson, right? Now let's get started mixing our dye vat. I filled my bucket with 4 gallons of water. I don't want it to be super hot. I want to be able to get my hands in there and work with that without burning myself, but I do want it to be warm enough because all of my chemicals are in a powder form and they need to be able to dissolve fairly quickly within the vat. The first thing we're going to do is put in our soda ash. You're going to use your stir stick to gently stir the vat in one circular motion until the soda ash is mostly dissolved. Second, you're going to put in 50 grams of your thiourea dioxide or sodium hydrosulfite. Again, slowly mix that in, stirring in one direction. Once both of your first chemicals have dissolved into the water, you're going to sprinkle on your 20 grams of pre-reduced indigo. Pre-reduced indigo is not water soluble, and so if you haven't yet mixed in your other 2 ingredients, it's not going to dissolve. But because we started with those 2, it should start to melt away into our vat fairly quickly. Keep mixing slowly in one direction until it looks like most of your indigo has dissolved. And then slowly bring your stick back around the opposite direction to slow the spin of your mixture. Remember, we don't need any agitation and we don't want to mix this like a mixing bowl. We want it to just slow to a stop so we can gently replace the lid and wait for the indigo to reduce. Once you've completed mixing your indigo dye vat, you can just let it sit with the lid on for about 30 to 60 minutes while it reduces. That is a perfect time to hop into the next lesson where I can teach you all of these beautiful shibori folding techniques that you'll want to use with your indigo dyeing.